Actually left. You're all still here, so yes, the stream has once again resumed. So welcome back to the 41st episode of the IGC podcast. We're going to go over the post E3 news now for all our beautiful and wonderful listeners. So let's start right off with talking about GameStop. The stream has once again resumed.
Everybody's favorite store, GameStop.
That's right. Yes, everyone's favorite retail video gamer, GameStop. Now, GameStop has gone through a number of alternate mean models to get money, and they are once again doing that. So we talked about probably sometime in January, February, they were starting to roll out buying old games and systems, and they were starting to ship them off to corporate and to basically be sold online. And they now have a full page up at GameStop.com/collection/retro-classics. And if you go there, you can actually look at the listing for a lot of pre-owned games from anywhere from NES up to Dreamcast. And have you guys actually taken a look at some of the prices they're selling these games for?
They're very proud of these games.
Holy shit.
But this is apparently how much this stuff is going for on eBay.
Right. You know, my issue with a lot of these listings is not necessarily that maybe the prices are the same on eBay or whatever. It's that when you go to like an eBay listing, you can actually like see the game. You know, people post pictures of the cartridge and stuff. Like, there is nothing like that on GameStop's website. You might get a copy of Yoshi Safari for $12, whatever, but you don't know if the sticker is like half removed. And that to me is a really shitty way of trying to sell a pre-owned game.
It also seems silly that people would even want to trade their pre-owned games to GameStop, knowing how much they give them for them.
Indeed, indeed. Now, I'm not sure that this is being rolled out at every single GameStop out there, but because I don't think the one near me is actually taking in old games. But man, some of the Papa, I mean, obviously the Nintendo ones are big on here, but Papa, have you looked at the N64 listings on here?
Can't say I have.
All right, let me give you
throw down some prices.
Give you the skinny here. Super Mario 64, $29.99. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, $29.99. Mario Kart 64, $44.99. Keep in mind,
the Mario Kart one's probably a little high. I'm surprised the other ones are as low as they are. But realistically, it kind of makes sense now since Nintendo's pumping out a virtual console for on the Wii U and 64 games now. They put out Donkey Kong Country a couple months ago. I believe we talked about that.
They want $35 for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, the Nintendo Entertainment System.
It's a rare game.
They want $50 for Majora's Mask, the gold cartridge. This is Donkey Kong 64 yellow cartridge, $20. Banjo-Kazooie, $25. Like, some of this stuff is pretty highly priced.
I mean, higher priced than current game, new release.
Oh, yeah. It's higher price for what it is and how old it is. But if you look up like something like Melee, like people are like paying $150, $200 for like fucking Super Smash Bros. Melee with the case. If it's not like fucked up.
Yeah, but you know what? You're not getting that here. You're getting a cartridge. You don't even know what. You just know that the cartridge is playable. I'm guessing that's what GameStop's guarantee is here. I don't see anything on their site about that, but I'm assuming that if they're shipping it off to corporate, they're at least trying the cartridge to make sure that it works before trying to sell your fat ass back to you.
They have a pre-owned guarantee on them saying that they have been tested and are functional.
Wonderful. But you don't know what the actual condition of the cartridge itself is.
No clue. And it says, the weird stipulation is product may not include original box and instruction manual. Item picture may not be the exact item received.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's pretty shit if they can't do that or if they don't even have like a picture of the cartridge.
Yeah, it's a generic picture of the cartridge, and the only two conditions that you can filter here are pre-owned and refurbished.
Yep.
This is not a bad direction for GameStop to go in. I mean, compared to what they were doing before, like going cell phone routes and things like that. Like, buy now, think geek was a smart move, and this is a smart move. So, good on GameStop, I guess.
Yeah, I mean at least it's games.
Like GameStop, but
yeah, but aren't they trying to get into the game streaming service provider industry too, which we know is a bad move?
Maybe for them
But
we're
it's still games, at least.
taking some risks, and we're also going with some certainties. I think they can make money off of this particular thing. Like, I feel like people who would go here to buy an old Mario Party 2 cartridge for $45 would want to know what it looks like, though, and I think that's where they're missing the boat a little bit.
Well, I mean, you could do it at some store. You could always go in a store and look at it first before you buy it.
But here's the thing:
They're not doing it online.
They're not doing this. Yeah, they're not doing this in store. You're selling the games in store, and then they're shipping them off.
But there are stores that will carry these, and you could go and look at the game and purchase it from the store directly.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then that'll be good. I just feel like that's 45.
Might be hard. It'll be hard, of course, to find the game you want.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
In the store. I mean, not a lot of people are going to do this. Obviously, they're not going to sell their game to GameStop.
Yeah, exactly. Who's selling this shit to GameStop?
I don't know. People are doing it apparently.
You know what it is? Kids going off to college and moms dumping off their games at GameStop.
Probably. I mean, they're selling like NBA Jam for the Genesis for $7 and Vector Man for $7. I could just imagine how much they're offering people for that. I mean, probably $1. And people are accepting it, apparently.
Seems like you'd be far better off just looking up the price of the game on GameStop and throwing it on eBay for a few bucks less.
A lot of people don't want to go for the trouble.
Yeah, probably.
Some people aren't that technical savvy, so
it's true.
they just
it's
go
true.
into the GameStop now and throw out their kids' games.
So I mean, for all I'm hearing, tonight, I also feel this isn't such a bad move because at least it's in the realm of games, and they are making older games available, and I guess that's true to their name, but still mixed feelings because it is GameStop after all. They're probably buying these games for $2 or $3, flipping them for 20, 30, and I take issue with that, especially with the flat pricing.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
They're taking stupid people's money, and I'm always for that.
They always will, because that's how they make their cash. Okay, so there's this game called Phantom Dust that I really don't even know why we're talking about this, but
This is a cult classic game.
A cult classic, right? Okay, so it's not canceled, but it's not an active development. What does that mean?
It's a cult classic, like it's an actual good game, and not like Mirror's Edge stuff.
Okay, and why who's waiting for this game? Which cult is?
I don't know who's waiting for it because a lot of people who like the original Phantom Dust I think it was on the 360. No, it was the original Xbox. I think actually. Anyone want to look that up real quick?
Not particularly.
One of those systems, but
Xbox.
The original Xbox. Yeah. So.
Okay. And
so,
they're making a sequel.
There are maybe people waiting for it. I don't know. But I think a lot of people moved on to PlayStation, honestly.
I think what they're saying is they started making a sequel.
This is more a type of game that would sell better on PlayStation than
after watching that trailer, yeah, I agree with you on that.
But again, Microsoft has the license, so they're the ones that control this, so
okay, so if you're looking
like a fighting
by doing better on PlayStation, are you implying this is a game that would be more appealing to like the Asian market?
Yeah, it's like an arena fighting game, but it has a collectible card game element to it. So you like run around collecting mana, and then you use the mana to fire off abilities, and the environment's entirely destructible. That's some pretty neat concepts to it, and the gameplay is pretty good. So, but it's very, very much an anime type fighter. So it's definitely more of the PlayStation crowd usually.
Yeah, I can see that based on what you're saying and watching this video. Yeah, I agree with you there. Okay, so if you're the kind of guy or girl who's waiting for Phantom Dust, just know that they're working on it. Just not actively, but they're working on it.
So they're not working on it.
Right, they're sitting in a sauna talking about it is what they're doing. Okay, so there's some outrage, and I feel like Seifer is going to channel his inner beast with this one, but there's been some controversy over the pricing of Destiny's upcoming expansion, The Taken King, and there have been some words exchanged between Eurogamer and the head producer, lead developer?
Yeah, somebody high up with Bungie.
Yeah, who basically said some shit.
They think they're fucking Blizzard now, I guess. $40 for an expansion. You can get the fuck out of here.
But the difference between Blizzard and them is that Blizzard releases full expansions. This is basically DLC. This is what the $20
It is.
DLC should have been.
This is something the same with the last ones. It should have been $10. $10 each. Would have been a reasonable price. They charge $20 per.
But they spent $500 million on the game, so they need to recoup their profits.
It has full voice acting.
Yeah, I mean, like in defense of Blizzard, their expansions are always full games. I mean, they add a full game's worth of content. This is at least 1/4 of the game, of the full game. So
they have a solid game I mean, the gameplay's fine. It's just fucking add things for it that aren't $40.
This is one new zone. The game released with 4 zones.
Yeah.
So we're getting like a very small chunk of what the original game was, and that was not not a lot of content, especially for a game that's trying to have MMO elements into it and trying to keep players playing constantly.
When I was reading through the articles we had posted, I think what rustled a lot of people's jimmies was looking at what was said here and them defending the value of their product, and I felt like they've become a little too big for their britches on this one, because they're telling me that if I, as an old player, I'm not really getting any perk, but if I'm a new player and they're trying to snag me in, and I buy the Collector's Edition, I'm going to get all the old content, plus all the old DLCs, all that stuff, and new emotes, and there will be no way for the old players to get the emotes unless they buy the entire new Collector's Edition to buy content they already have. And the guy responding in this article is really being an ass about it.
I thought they were
he's smug.
As DLC.
They are now.
They are now. Not initially. Initially, they were saying, no, if you want that stuff, you should put your money where your mouth is, and you should buy our entire product again. And it's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Luke Smith, but that's not how shit works.
In a game that emotes don't really matter at all.
Right, but you know what? If you give, that's to some people, that's content, and you cannot, to tell people outright, no, if you want that, you have to pay $40 to get it, is a dick move. And he didn't get that.
They should always have resulted just, you get a little head start. That would have been maximum. Give them like a few exotics or something as a new player.
This guy straight out says, and I quote, if I fired up a video right now and showed you the emotes, you would throw money at the screen. This guy is saying that these three emotes... Yeah, it's a smug bastard.
And this is not even a social game. I mean, the social game elements are lacking severely, so an emote is not really a big deal in that type of game. Not like it is in an MMORPG, and emotes aren't really a fucking big deal in an MMORPG.
Well, Mr. Smith did go on Budgie's blog and right the wrong, and eventually say that he came out, and I quote, and as an asshat, in his own words, and how these emotes will be available separately outside the Collector's Edition. But you gotta have some big balls at a show where you know you're going to be asked difficult questions by big gaming media outlets, and for you to come out with an answer like that says something about Bungie, like the guy running the show over at Destiny. Like that to me is like, really? You would say that about your consumer? You would? I mean, I know you have faith in your product, and you should be proud of everything you produce, but man, that's completely throwing, like, the idea of the consumer is who I cater to out the window.
Look, I'm going to tell people flat out, do not buy this expansion. It's going to be $10 worth of 10 hours worth of content at most.
Yeah, they clearly state that. It basically has 1/5 the content of the original game, and they're charging a full game price for it.
Yeah, and on top of that, they're looking at new ways to milk players. They're doing this Red Bull promotion thing where you get an epic quest if you purchase a Red Bull drink and enter the code in. You get a free epic quest. It's just like, why are you trying to milk people this badly, Bungie? I mean, even Nintendo's less subtle about this shit. Even Ubisoft's
see what they can get away with. They're Bungie, Halo, all that shit. They're just trying to see what they can get away with. They can go fuck themselves.
I
don't think they can get away with this.
Well, no, clearly
you definitely can, especially like given the lack of I don't know what to call it. I guess the lack of hype that Destiny lived up to was it just never lived up to standards. I guess I'll say. But you mentioned the whole thing where you had to re-buy the whole game. Guild Wars 2 actually had to refix itself, and Guild Wars has been fairly successful, not as successful as I think a lot of people wanted it to be, but definitely more successful than Bungie and Destiny by a long shot.
Yeah.
So, Guild Wars 2 is going...
Bungie, no. Destiny,
Guild Wars 2 is going through the same kind of situation right now. There are a lot of people who are looking at Heart of Thorns going, why is this as much as the original game?
Right, and and one of the things that happened, and this is kind of what fiddles into the whole Destiny thing of, oh yeah, if you want this extra stuff, you're just gonna have to buy the entire game over again. Well, the Heart of Thorns expansion, as it comes now, it actually contains the base game, so a completely new player basically gets the base game plus the expansion for half as much as what we had to pay for the base game and the expansion coupled.
Yeah, they should have definitely included an upgrade thing.
Yeah,
where we would have to pay like
digital upgrades. Yeah, I mean they've been doing that
they
shit
came
forever.
out right away because people got pissed, and they remedied that. And this is Arena Net and Guild Wars. They've had a lot more success than Destiny has had, and they're a little bit better footing. But I mean, even they're correcting this.
Sadly,
shit.
though, they haven't. Like Destiny sold more copies than Guild Wars 2 did, and
they didn't
it's more
remedy
profitable
shit,
than Guild Wars 2.
Like they created what, 2 new Heart of Thorns packages? Like the mid-tier one now gives you like a free character slot, and then the
no. This is aside from that. This is like for people that already own the base game, any level of the expansion you buy, to kind of make it up to old veteran players, because this is all that shit in the Heart of Thorns expansion stuff was kind of to basically saying, hey, look at all the shit new players get. And they basically get the free base game, or they get the whole base game for freezies. Well, anyway, if you're a veteran player and you already own the base game and you get Heart of Thorns, you get a player slot, which is like 800 gems, which is like $10. And then you get a couple other things. I forget what they mentioned, but they said they were going to add stuff.
All right, well, listen, we're getting off topic.
So.
The point is that digital upgrading to collector's editions and all that, that's stuff that's been commonplace in the market for a while. To tell players that we're just initially that we're not going to do that because it just wasn't part of our grand plan, and if you want what we want, you need to do what we want to do, which is spend more money than you really want to. It just doesn't, like I'd be okay, not okay, but I'd feel more comfortable or less uncomfortable if this was just some random developer for the game. But this is coming from like the top down. And when you hear that, you get the impression that, well, this is how they roll, and this is what we're going to expect from this product, probably from now until the end of time, regardless of how this guy apologizes. It's like it's not what people say or do; it's like what they're capable of saying or doing. And this guy clearly thinks that every time a grand expansion comes out for this game, he's going to lock content behind like a gigantic paywall of buying everything you already own again. Like that's not a good impression to make, first, second, or third, or whatever.
Right, the bottom line
really
is
don't
you shouldn't be
think
able
we
to
should
get away with it.
I really don't even think we should be calling this an expansion. Like that, just
listen. We're just using the words that they're using. The way that they define that is clearly
DLC.
Right. It's clearly been fucked up from the beginning. With all their additional content being $20 and being questionably valued. They clearly talk about value in that article, and this guy thinks his product has a lot of value, regardless of how thin you or I think it might be. But anyway, let's talk about something else of value. So apparently Microsoft is still trying to sell consoles in Japan, and it's not going very well. Reports now show that between the week before E3, leading up to E3, which is a big week, for game console, probably the week after is a bit bigger, between June 8th and 14th, in Japan, Xbox sold 100 units. To give you a perspective, the PS3 in that same week sold 2,633 units.
The Vita TV outsold it by a factor of 5. It sold over 500 units at least.
Yeah.
The Vita outsold it by
the
over
Vita
100
TV.
times. I know, but the Vita outsold it by over 100 times. The
So,
Vita.
We can clearly take away from this that Microsoft's strategy in Japan is not playing out. What do they
terrible.
need to do? Well, May, you probably understand the culture over there far more than I do. What do they need to do to make this thing work?
They
Are they
need
just-
to get caved. They're
I'm
releasing
curious,
mini
yeah.
shooters.
Nothing.
That's the only exclusive Japanese publisher I think they have is Cave.
So they need to bring
They're a
JPs in
PlayStation.
house.
Nationalism at its best. PlayStation. You can't do anything.
So basically,
I don't even know why they tried.
Microsoft needs to just throw a lot of money at Japanese developers and get some Japanese developed exclusives going.
They ain't gonna do that because
They should just not
support
care
their own.
about the
Yeah.
Japanese market. They should just get out. That's not going to work.
I kind of
You're not
agree
going
with
to sell
that.
anything in Japan.
Like they're so far gone and removed from that market that I don't know if there is a plan, a strategy that can change that.
Let's not forget that a lot of Japanese game developers and consoles aren't doing well in Japan either. So people are just thinking that the gaming industry is pretty much dead except for mobile there.
It's mobile, yeah. It's mobile in there. In Korea, it's a big mobile. In China, it's mobile. Like, it's mobile there. Like, maybe that's just the thing we need to come to grips with. And Xbox is, not going to work.
Until Square Enix saves us all with the FF7.
I mean, let's face it. They launched
Trigger.
a year after, right? In there as it was, and like that. And that alone is just bad news. Like, you can't. That they're going to take that as a slight to be told, like, oh well, a year from now you'll get Xbox Ones, and it's like no one cared. Like, we saw the pictures back in October when they launched. There was no lines outside of any of their major media retailers. Like, no one cared about the Xbox launching in Japan. Sad, but it is what it is.
Japanese don't want to play sports games.
They don't. They don't. They want to play JRPGs.
What about baseball games? Though?
Match threes.
You can play those on the PlayStation. It doesn't even have that.
MLB The Show.
And they're shooters they don't play a lot of shooters, so Halo is not going to excite them.
And I wonder if
Gears
they play.
is not going to excite them, so
Yeah, exactly. None of those titles are going to excite them. They're not built for a JP market. They just don't have they don't have it behind them. So, one of the things I'm wondering as we move on to the next topic here is how many of you guys actually bought Arkham Knight for PC?
I did not.
I heard they had
and
a
I'm
spelling
glad.
error in the box.
Yeah.
Was a spelling error on
well,
the
That makes sense.
I didn't buy it because I was saying how this game's going to do poorly.
Okay, so I don't know.
It's a fiasco.
Naughtiest you go, because I'm just still reading through this and just face palming, and I can't get words out.
So the game is bug ridden. That's a big problem. It's on the consoles too, although it plays at least somewhat on the consoles. They have issues like there's little cutscenes inside of like Wayne Tower where it's raining and fun things like that. But if you got Batman Arkham Knight on the PC, you probably are having a decidedly much more difficult time with the game, particularly with performance and crashes and just poor optimization. Huge graphical differences between the consoles and the PC version. Like, this thing just did not get any love. It didn't get the attention it deserved. It certainly didn't get the testing. So PC gamers now have the Steam, return policy in their hand, and they started returning this thing en masse. Like, they just were all going back, such to the point where Warner Brothers actually pulled the game off of Steam. They didn't want it being sold anymore because they were just all getting returned.
Now, I'm under the impression that when you do a Steam return, Steam keeps their cut, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So this is good for PC gaming. And Francis, Boogie2988 does a great Francis rant that I just watched the other night about how he's encouraging people to pre-order games like this because now there's no risk. And when a developer pulls shit like this, they're actually losing money now. And good on that, because the consumer now has power in a sense, not just because of the refund, we get all our money back, but because it hurts the developer because they're losing that 30% cut or whatever that Steam takes every time. This is going to push them to make sure they don't outsource PC port games to like shitty companies like Iron Galaxy, who clearly had no fucking clue what they were doing with this.
But, that's the weird part, though. Like, Iron Galaxy has done quite a few ports, and they're usually fairly decent. So everyone's kind of shaking their head at what the heck happened here.
Something serious happened.
But
And
the
people
hilarious
are
thing
bitching
is,
about
though,
it.
is that Rocksteady is sitting there like, oh, it's all Iron Galaxy. We're like, well, yeah, but clearly somebody had to have tested this thing and played this and would have seen all of these bugs and performance issues, and nobody, tried to stop this one from going out.
I think
So,
we're kind of underrating, like downplaying how bad this port is. Like this is no matter how good your settings are, you're gonna run this game.
30
And
FPS.
30 FPS? No, you're not even gonna hit that. You're gonna see stuttering. You're gonna get 20 FPS, and you're gonna see stuttering the entire time. Like it's gonna just completely drop frames. So you're getting like the full cinematic experience this time.
yeah, and you've got NVIDIA involved. They're jumping into this situation because this thing is being bundled with all their, currently selling high-end video cards. Anybody buying a Titan or a 980 Ti, even like a 980 GTX, and they're getting this game, and they're running this game on their shiny new video card, and it's running like crap.
Isn't this game also GameWorks as well? Is it a GameWorks thing? NVIDIA GameWorks backed or some shit?
Yeah, they've got a lot of their proprietary, rendering techniques in there.
I apologize.
All right, so that's another black stain on another company.
I apologize for calling Iron Galaxy shitty. I mean, this is just a really bad thing because this is a game that has been anticipated for well over a year now. To port this poorly is just really bad on you. Like I'm looking through the stuff that they've ported or assisted in porting. The biggest titles they ported all on their own were Borderlands 2 and Borderlands: The Handsome Collection. Past that, they've only really assisted on a few things. They developed a couple of games here and there. They're the ones working on Killer Instinct right now on the Xbox. I guess that's their big claim to fame at the moment.
A lot of people are saying that they've got a lot of talent with Unreal developers basically at Iron Galaxy. They're not just a throwaway studio basically.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. They also did the port for Origins as well. I guess that's probably why they were picked to do this one because they had done the previous title.
Well, what the hell happened here? Like this
Who even knows?
can't possibly pass QA. I mean,
the weird thing is if you look people are looking in the credits and on the PC version, Iron Galaxy's credit in there has like 12 people assigned to it. So they're wondering, well, did they not just have enough people to accomplish this in the time frame, or what the heck happened? But bottom line is, like, somebody at Warner Brothers and somebody at Rocksteady greenlit this thing, and it went out the door.
Mm-hmm. Did and they lost 30% of their profit of the game sale of every refund that went out there, and there seemed to be hundreds. This was big enough news. Maybe it was even thousands. I don't know. I don't think this game's available on Origin, right?
More refunds than it sold copies. So
this game's not available on Origin.
They lost some money.
No, I believe it's a Steamworks game.
It's Steam only. Okay.
They actually lost some money releasing this on Steam.
Yeah. And this is either going to cause one or two things. Either make them actually make sure that they QA shit for PC port out the gate, or they're just not going to release anything on PC anymore, which I don't see Warner Brothers doing. They seem to like PC. They did Shadow Mordor on PC. They did all the Batman games on PC. I don't see them pulling away from it anytime soon.
Yeah, the funny thing is, other studios jumping in there, like Electronic Arts came out saying, this isn't going to happen on Battlefront. Like, if Battlefront PC isn't ready come release date, it won't ship. Like, well, yeah, I'm fucking sure it won't, because you're going to lose money on it.
All we know is Lord Gaben just saved the PC gaming industry again.
He sure did.
This could potentially do more harm than good, though. This could actually shy away, developers from doing PC ports.
It could, and that's one of my concerns. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But again, like most things, when we hear about them,
Let's hope it does. I mean, do we want these kind of PC ports? Good PC ports are still going to show up.
We don't want it to not come to PC.
Good PC ports are still going to show up. I don't think that'll.
But this is a major AAA title. Like a major fucking AAA title. People have been waiting for this for a long time.
They should have released in this date. Do you really want a game like this to show up?
I'm not saying that they should have. I'm just saying that I hope it doesn't have the effect of shying them away from doing it in the future, like creating a game at all on PC. They should just, if they want to release it on a platform, that they should do well enough to do that. That's all.
I bet you this is probably the last Batman game you're going to see come to the PC.
It might be. And I think
hopefully
it's the last Batman game they're doing.
Brothers collapse and the Batman guys move over into Kickstarter or something,
Right.
Well, eventually that train's going to run out of steam. At some point. Okay, so apparently someone thought it was important enough that some guy who created the biggest Minecraft pixel art in the world was something we were going to talk about in the podcast. So a fellow by the name of Thorlarian has dubbed himself the Pixel Art King, according to PC Gamer, and he took a wallpaper from BlizzCon 2010 and made it in Minecraft, and it is made up of 1,128,960 blocks. Did you guys watch this cute little video that he put out and how proud he was of this accomplishment? Because he's really happy.
I mean, it looked cool, but what point does it just stop becoming pixel art when you're using that many pixels?
I don't know. But apparently it set a world record, so good for him. Okay, there's his 5 minutes of record.
That's cool, I guess.
Some money for charity, too.
Yes, he was taking donations. Okay, so moving on. So Apple has decided recently that they were going to just remove all games with a Confederate flag in it from the App Store, which in turn actually ended up removing some actually seriously themed games from the App Store itself. But they went back on this plan, right? They're not actually doing this straight up anymore. Who added this freaking news to the...
I just think the fact that they did it was pretty big news. Like, really? We're taking a censorship that far?
Well, I mean, it's not censorship. I mean, it's not like government. It's a business choosing not to carry those products.
That's still censorship.
It's not technically censorship.
Different legal definitions. But
I mean, it's a huge, long debate on what that flag actually means to people. And it means such a variety of things.
But
here's my thing.
The point is these games were trying to be historically accurate.
Right. You had, historic, Civil War, like battle kind of simulation games that were getting yanked off of there. While at the same time, right over on iTunes, you've got, 1993 movie Gettysburg still for sale. So they weren't pulling the plug over there. Where was the disconnect here?
It's like trying to wipe out, say, the Holocaust from history or something.
Gettysburg's over there.
Killing Jews and Nazis and
there's two things going on. Number one, they are treating video games, once again, in this particular instance, I think, as a lesser form of media that is negatively connotated. And the second thing is, they're also treating the Civil War like it was a completely bad thing, when it actually had a very positive outcome, regardless of what flag you're flying in that sense. I have an issue with that.
No, I think
it's just unjustified here. I mean, look, we can all agree, displaying the flag of the Confederacy as a symbol of intolerance, as a symbol of hatred, yeah, we don't want that. But again, historical simulation.
Yeah, it happened. It happened, and
under that context, there's no excuse for getting rid of that. There's none.
What next?
Those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it.
But then there is
Nazis from games?
There's precedents for this, though, because, in Germany, there are World War II games that are straight up banned and cannot be sold there because they depict, Nazi
and that's not right.
And the swastika.
It's not right, yeah.
That's how far the Germans have gone.
Yeah, it is, and there
are
textbooks that don't talk about the Holocaust.
The swastika symbol that's used as good luck and fortune in a lot of cultures just got thrown on the bus with that kind of shit.
You know what it is?
I mean, you throw anything that looks remotely like it, it gets banned.
This is very, very prescriptive of Apple to do. What they're saying is that there is a meaning behind that flag that we assign to it, and therefore everyone would attribute that to it in some way or another. And that's very much the opposite of what free-thinking people do. I would think Apple, of all companies, would not be the one to do something like this. Like this gives me a different perspective on Apple, a little tiny.
But they do things like this all the time. I mean, it's not something new for Apple. I mean, they are heavy on censorship. You can't have
their little walled garden.
You can't have any mature rated games on their platforms. On iPhones, at least.
I would just like to know what they were thinking. Here, what was the motive behind
Someone got offended somewhere and
fuck that person.
To them
I wouldn't even call that censorship. It just seems like here in this country, people get really stuck in this way of, okay, there's a right way to think and there's a wrong way to think. If you personally feel uncomfortable around gays, then you're a bad person. And, so now the Confederate flag is a bad thing and everybody has to hate Confederate flag.
Well, they solved half of
liberal agenda.
They solved half of the problem with it. They came out and made an official statement that says, we've removed apps from the App Store that use the Confederate flag in an offensive or mean-spirited way, which is in violation of our guidelines. We are not removing apps that display the Confederate flag for educational and historical users. But the thing is, they still haven't answered why they did it for just the games. You know what I mean? Like, why do they see the games as different? Like,
they won't answer.
That's the mystery here.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty
because
of
I'm sure
video
games caused the entire thing. That guy was playing some Bioshock Infinite or something, and he saw a Confederate flag, and that was responsible for him shooting up the church.
Come on, though. Who's to say though what is what is offensive to somebody?
That's what I'm saying. It's prescriptive.
It's anything.
How
You
can
give
they say,
anyone.
like, this is an offensive use of the Confederate flag, and this is not. How can you say that? Like, unless it's laced with hate speech, I don't think you could say that.
Well, if you depict the Confederate flag like, stabbed to the body of like a young black male dead on the floor, I think that's offensive, right?
Offensive, but I don't think that's the case here at all.
No, it probably wasn't in any of
it. It's just outrage culture at its finest.
Yeah.
It's been going on for like the past 7 fucking years, non-stop.
Because
that
let's
liberal
face
agenda.
And even if it is
my
offensive,
generation, I apologize for them. I really do.
I mean,
yeah, we apologize for the millennials. We're very sorry.
There's movies and songs on there that have nothing to do with Confederate flag that have way worse message.
But even if that is offensive, like even if they did something that offensive, should that game be removed from one of the largest mobile store? Should it be removed from there? I mean, I don't know if Apple should have that kind of power.
They hold, but it's their store. They hold. They hold all the keys. You know what I mean?
That's kind of
and the developer themselves. The developer came out and said they are not gonna acquiesce to Apple's request and remove the freaking Confederate flag from their Civil War battle simulator. It's just
Yeah, I mean it's the same shit that went on with the hatred, selling hatred on good old games. It's just the whole freedom of marketplace versus freedom of speech. That's just going to entertain.
It happened on Steam, and thank God they interfered. Hatred is not a great game, but it has every right to be on the Steam store.
It's just a business choice, and they're going to get feedback from it either way.
Yeah.
So shortly after Apple started pulling the Civil War games, Steam put one up front and center, like up on the Steam store page. So you're kind of seeing the different cultures there.
Absolutely. Understanding games to be a respectable media, rather than one that needs to be judged and constantly critiqued, because of its possible negative connotations for depictions of, simple art. But anyway, good on them, good on Steam, good on Apple for reversing it. I'm curious how they feel about why games are different. We may never know the answer.
It's based on everything else that's been going on this week, unrelated, but it's been a pretty rough week if you're a Confederate-loving homophobe that wants to play Batman Arkham Knight on PC.
Yeah.
It's been a really bad week for you.
It's been rough. All right, so the last bit of news here. Apparently, you're going to be able to buy like a $400 ship in some game called Star Citizen.
Oh, God.
No, pronounce that, please. I didn't hear anything. Can we just move on?
We typically
30 seconds.
The only reason this is coming in here is because this one is
the New York City Transit Bureau would like to welcome
for sale that has genuinely solicited a overwhelming negative response from the community. This is
really the first.
Yep, this is it.
Why? Because it wasn't
$500.
It's a $400 ship that transfers passengers around, from place to place that you get to pilot, except you're only going to be transporting NPCs because all the other players have their own ships.
Okay. I'm glad. Okay. So it was negatively received by the people who want to play Star Citizen. Okay, well, it sucks. I'm sorry to the Star Citizen people. I guess you were unhappy that you spent $3,000 before you saw this ship, and you're like, oh, but I would have bought that one instead.
Okay, well, how many people actually bought this ship? Because I'm sure it was probably a lot of people.
We have
Thousands of people. Thousands of people. Thousands of idiots.
They're probably still angry, and they bought the ship.
Probably were. They were grumbling the whole time they were entering their credit card number in. Like, God damn this ship! What the fuck is my PayPal
There's
password?
people who probably feel they're too far deep in. They're like, oh, okay, I just need to get it. I just need to get it and complete the collection. I can't turn back now. I have no other explanation why people are just paying this much money for shit that's going to be in the game.
Yeah. So apparently there are people buying this thing. It came out yesterday, and their baseline funding timeline states their average income, to that point, it was about $13,000 a day, and it immediately jumped up to $150,000. Well, they sold $150,000 worth of these things.
They
so,
could
300 and some change.
They could release a ship that collects shit, and people would pay for it. $500 shit collecting shit.
Oh, there's somebody out there who wants to be the space garbage man. I guarantee it.
Well, good for him.
The people that are just going to get in a miner and go in asteroid fields for 18 hours a day and just shoot asteroids, mine them.
But at least that has a role and a purpose other than, just flying NPCs from place to place.
All right, this is way too much time spent on that game. Anyway, announcements and debuts. So, yeah, why don't you take us?
you guys, haters.
Just take us on through the releases. Now, are there announcements and debuts so that we can talk about MMOs? And then I can eventually eat dinner tonight.
We did mention some of these. These are a lot of games that were shown at E3 or not shown at E3 for whatever reason. That got announced during that time period. There was a Godzilla game that got announced. It looks pretty cool, actually.
It actually does, yes.
That's for PS3 and PS4, and you're a giant kaiju monster destroying cities. I mean, do we really need to explain Godzilla?
Nope, next.
Project X Zone 2, I don't believe this was at any conference either. Got announced for the 3DS. It's an RPG, and it has this ridiculous combo system, kind of like a fighting game, but not really. Where you could rack up like 1,000 hit combos. Anyway, if you played it has a lot of Capcom fan service as well. There's all these characters from different Capcom games. Even the ones that they don't bother making games for anymore. Because they're Capcom. Alright, next, Persona 5. Kind of a big deal.
Yep.
JRPG. It's coming out on PS4 and PS3. It was not shown at E3 except for, I believe, an English trailer, which was the same as a Japanese trailer, only with subtitles in English. Y2K, which is a postmodern RPG. It's an indie game. Looked alright. Mother Russia Bleeds, which was from the Devolver Digital. This was actually shown at the Sony conference, I believe, on the little Devolver Digital thing, but I didn't really see a lot of didn't have a lot of screen time, so I just put it there again. But it's a violent beat 'em up from Devolver Digital. There's a Time Machine VR, which is like an adventure photography game where you go back in time and take pictures. As I said earlier, Summer Lesson got another VR demo. A little bit less pervy this time. There's not a school. It's not really a schoolgirl in a schoolgirl outfit anymore. She's just wearing like Daisy Dukes and a t-shirt. Lord of a Million from Square Enix, which is a PC game and it's Japanese only at the moment, but it's a MOBA type game where you kind of have these cards and you have like a little a set of things that follow you around. I don't know, check it out if you're interested in it. There's more Mighty Number 9 gameplay. I think we talked about that with the Kickstarter and everything.
Yep, Mega Man style.
Mega Man.
Basically.
Anyway, Fat Princess Adventures with PS4. I don't even know how to describe this game. It's a competitive multiplayer game. Little Battlers Experience. I have no idea what this game is. I don't know why I put it on there. This is Wii U. Tales of Berseria got a trailer. It's cinematic, so they didn't show any gameplay, but that's a JRPG. Again, Tales games come into Steam now, so look forward to that. This one wasn't officially announced for Steam, but still Japanese only, so they're not going to put it on Steam yet. But I'm sure the US release will get a Steam version. Technomancer, an action RPG. I think this is for PC. Looked alright. Does need a lot of work. It does feel kind of indie-ish right now, but it does have potential. Perception, a horror game. Not really much else to say about that. The Final Fantasy VII port to the PS4. Now this is just the PC port of the game is coming out this October. Yay!
So exciting.
Like, is anybody even going to purchase this when
I
the remake
doubt
is
it.
coming out?
Doubt it.
Dad by the Sword is an action RPG where you play like a dad of a gamer or whatever, and you're playing an RPG or something. I don't know. Dungeons and Dragons style game. It's an action RPG. I think it's in first person view too. I know I didn't describe that very well. Shadow Warrior 2
Come on.
has sword fighting in an FPS style game. You're a ninja, you kill lots of shit. And Senran Kagura Etsubo Versus is getting ported by Xseed. Yay!
Not yay.
There's an English version coming out for it.
Okay. At least it'll be in English.
So if you want boobies, there you go. And fighting. Nightwatch, another horror game from Nippon Ichi Software. The Division is having beta signups, so you can go ahead and sign up for that downgraded game.
Tom Clancy's The Division.
What was that?
Tom Clancy's The Division.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Tom Clancy's The Division.
Fuck Tom Clancy.
Hey. Give respect.
I've only seen people call that The Division. I never see the Tom Clancy on it. The Solus Project, which is kind of like a old school first-person view RPG, I believe. I might be wrong about that one. Is coming out. I think that's for Xbox One, PS4, or it might just be Xbox One and PC. I'm not sure about PS4. Whisper and Willows, a side-scrolling adventure game, is coming out for PS4 and Vita.
Okay.
So please look forward to all those games.
There's a lot of fucking games and this is the particularly long list because of obviously E3 not being able to show you everything in a conference.
And yes, there's a lot of games that were shown at press conferences and we didn't go over. So if you're excited for any of those, go ahead and check out the press conferences.
Yeah, and there's trailers a lot for a couple of those or whatever. All right, so let's talk about MMOs real quick. We don't have too many people playing these, but this past Tuesday, WoW did have their big 6.2 patch. I know we have our Minna Mountains WoW Guild here at IGC has been thickening the raids and stuff and trying to recruit and catch people up and all that other good stuff. I don't know much about the patch. I don't think it's actually there's any new classes or anything like that. Anything super awesome, right? It's not an expansion.
I think they added a new raid content.
Oh, that's expected, I suppose. All right, and the same day, Heaven's Word for Final Fantasy XIV released. Maybe Sifra, you want to give us a very brief kind of description on what's going on in Heaven's Word? Since you've completed all of the content, I have not yet to.
It's good. The story's pretty good. It's the best so far. Another game, the 1.0, 2.0 games. Flying is a big plus. I thought it was just gonna be some mediocre shit, but it really is enjoyable. Just sit back and they did a really good job with the flying mechanics. Just the vistas you can look through as you're flying through zones. The zones are bigger, and you're already getting to the point where you're like, fly faster, fly faster.
Yeah, they are really big.
Let me tell you something about this fucking flying.
Wait a minute.
Because I've been playing this. The thing is that you don't get to fly till you're done about 80% through with quests in the zone. And why the hell do you need to go back to that zone once you finish the freaking quest?
Oh, lots of stuff.
But wait a minute, you complete all the content in the game already? In the expansion?
There's no raids yet.
No, not just the main story quests, which take about 50 hours. Powered through that in then 2 days. I was the first 60. Just want to say that.
First
I feel
60
so proud.
worldwide?
I feel so proud.
Is that a worldwide
just-
account?
No, just in our guild.
Okay, well that doesn't even count.
Who knows? Yeah, the story has been
60,
very Good.
60 black mage now. I have 460 crafts working on the other 4. There's endgame shit to do. There's the EX fights. There's Bismarck Extreme and Ravana Extreme. Both are very fun. Bismarck in itself is just fun. Just the mechanics of the fight to do.
Oh wait, you've done all the content then, right?
At this moment, yes, but I'm fucking power game through all the shit.
That's
That's not what it's meant for.
No raid content.
But it's not all the content. You still have to get gear. You still have to level your shit. I mean, it's not just, oh, you finished, time to put the shit on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, the way I know it seems like there's not a lot of content, but here's how it goes. You have to get to level 60 through 6 zones of quests and main story quests and all that shit. Through that, there's 5 or 6 dungeons. Then at level 60, there's 3 more dungeons that you get to do, or 2 more that get added on to one of them. Those become like your expert level endgame dungeons for farming tokens that you use to buy gear, and then you go and do hunts to upgrade that gear. And then there's 2 extreme battles as well. There's no raid content yet because the raid content is coming out 2 weeks from launch. So not this upcoming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday will be the first tier of raid content for this patch. They wanted to do that to give people time to get to level 60 on one or multiple jobs, to try out crafting, the gathering, all the new stuff, that kind of shit. So the patch, the actual expansion is, we have not yet seen all the content from it. It's being time gated for us, for the community kind of stuff. And so far, I've loved every bit of it. So
I know you want to hate the game, AI, but it's hard to hate it right now. They did a lot of extra shit to help new players. XP boost, item gear from main scenario quest. You get bonus XP in dungeons.
Yeah, but
and they have people running those dungeons like nonstop.
Like on the last podcast, I said that I don't see anything new. I feel like they took everything that was in 2.0 and threw it in our face again. Like, this is exact same content, and I feel like it's not been designed towards people who have been playing the game for a long time. It's like designed for people who will buy the game when the expansion comes out. Like, everything is just a rehash. Like, I was hoping for one new thing, something that will maybe bring the free company together or anything. Now they can take a risk because the game is pretty successful, and just do some sort of a raid content or something that's like experimental, and it's just a rehash of 2.0. Like,
maybe that's what they're planning on doing. Like they said, they're releasing the raid content 2 weeks later, so maybe
it's still going to be 8-man content though. What they did do for guilds is they gave you like they give you airships, and you can build airships and have your airships go out on like ventures. Like,
but we don't see that yet.
We don't see it. You don't interact with it, but the crafters in the guild, you have to kind of all get your resources together to build these airships to go send them out to bring other resources back.
So it's like a mobile Facebook game.
I don't have
the
that much
airships right now aren't that great. They bring back fucking material trash items, but they did say they're planning to bring exclusive items that you can only get through airship, either for your housing or for character armors and glamour and shit like that. Which then and again is it worth it to you? To me, right now it's not.
I think they probably could have did something interesting with that, like made you actually go on airship adventures.
And
they are gonna add that. It's just
coming. It's coming.
Everything we're gonna add it. So you just take that with a grain of salt.
When they were at the E3, they said that they're planning to release the next expansion like next year, and I can see how they can keep doing that, because if people are buying those expansions, they're really not designing anything new. They just reskinning mobs, and the fights so far I've seen are pretty much the same, so they can just pump out expansions and keep selling them to people.
Well, you're right, the format's the same, but what they do with that content we'll have to see, because they're clearly adding something onto it later that we haven't quite gotten a full idea of.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's very familiar,
I just wanted
so.
to see one new thing, one experimental thing, and there has been nothing.
Yeah, no, this is a play it safe mode right now.
Yeah, this is like the safest move.
So Guild Wars 2 also had a big patch right in preparation for Heart of Thorns. Is there anyone who wants to talk about that briefly?
Sure, I'll talk about how broken it is. This is why you don't this is why you don't release 45 pages of patch balances and changes to mechanics in the game without testing. You know, you need serious testing for this, and they did not have serious testing for this. There is Guardians running around doing 21k burning ticks, which is more than most direct damage can do. That pretty much one-shots people, and that's a dot, and that ticks every time.
Wow.
It's
kind of crazy.
You know, burning in general just way too overpowered right now because you can now they changed it so you could stack it. It used to just stack by
duration.
By duration, now it stacks by intensity. So you could stack like 20 burning on somebody and just kill them instantly with Elementalist and Guardian.
Wow. Sounds very broken indeed.
The mobs, the world bosses had their health doubled to compensate, and a lot of people are having trouble killing them now. And none of the mechanics changed, so they still pose no threat to a player. You're pretty much just attacking the dragon's toe, as we like to call it. But yeah, a lot of people fail it because they can't hit the DPS check fast enough. They obviously don't know about all the broken shit, so you only have a couple of people who might know about the broken shit, so people aren't able to compensate enough damage. There's a lot of other bugs, like Guardians are able to give everyone all their buffs in roll v roll. So people are running around with quickness now stacked. So people are running around with 2 minutes of quickness, which is a 50% attack speed buff, and they're running around with like invulnerability and just stack to hell, and 25 stack might, which is the max protection, every single buff in the game.
So shit's broken.
Yes, very, very broken.
Okay, shit's broken is what I got from all this.
But a lot of the changes are positive, but they definitely need to test a lot of shit because there's still a lot of broken shit. There's another bug with engineers where their grenades pierce now. So what they do is they throw a mob, and it will, instead of hitting like 5 times like it's supposed to, it hits 12 times, and it does AoE. So if you throw a grenade into a pack of behind a player, and there's a lot of players, and in the process it'll hit all those players 12 times, basically, again, instant killing everybody.
More broken.
Yes, very broken.
Got it, okay. And when is this? Do they have a release date for this expansion?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Okay.
But, one of the positives about the patch is now the meta was basically run Zerkers, and now it's pretty much you have options now. You could run Zerkers, or you could run these stupid overpowered condition builds.
Holy shit!
So there's a little bit more options.
I'm like skimming through this. This is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
this is way too much. This is not
shit.
how you do patches. This is not how you do patches.
Definitely not.
Most of it is basically a complete revamping of the condition damage and how that got stacked, like the burning, the bleeding, the confusion. They basically, because most conditions that dealt damage only stacked in either duration, or they stacked up to an intensity of 25. You get in a big group play, or even 2 players can max out on a couple of the conditions, and they really didn't do anything because there's 25 stacks of bleed instead of like 250. Now that's good for like player balance in every world, but it sucks for bosses because then your entire build is built around bleed damage or burning damage, and well, you can't do any of it because it's always being overwritten by some other asshat. So when they did that, they nerfed the amount of conditions that damage did. However, if you're a condition build, you well exceeded the threshold, at which point they called it the break-even point, where you had to have X amount of condition damage to have your conditions do the same amount of damage between pre-patch and post-patch. Well, if you're full condition damage, you have about triple that.
Also,
break-even point. So, yeah. That's why you get the 20,000 ticks.
Dungeon bosses are dying in about 5 to 10 seconds. there was a video up of Giganticus Lupicus being done by 4 Elementalists, and I forget what the other class was.
Probably
And-
Mesmer.
This is not
No,
how you
it's
do an
not.
MMO, is what I'm
And-
gathering.
No,
here, guys.
And he died in 9 seconds, and he's one of the hardest bosses in the game. You know, he has tons of health, and
You can definitely tweak and balance stuff, but you don't tweak and balance stuff and then not
Yeah.
really test it like this, and you don't also change a whole bunch of other stuff with the class mechanics, because they basically redid the whole trait system
Yeah.
as well, to the point where they combined a bunch of traits that weren't combined before, and on their own they were really weak, but they were very dumb about which ones they combined, and now you get stuff that increases the effectiveness of your, say, signets or some of your utilities, while also reducing the cooldown on those utilities by a large amount. So they way overbalanced, or they way over tweaked, and what it is a big fucking mess of OP shit.
All right.
yeah. But let me just go over real quick.
Losing
what
me
they-
here.
what they- Well, you guys talked about Final Fantasy for so long, so
Not shorter
we
than
can talk
this.
about Guilds too.
I'm talking about a patch that hasn't even come
We'll
out
just-
yet, but talking about a broken
No, it came
MMO.
out. I mean, yeah, but they revamped the entire specialization system, like the trait system, and not only did they revamp the trait system by like allowing you to spec fully into free traits now instead of the 2 and partial you could do before. You could do two full traits and 1 partial before. I forget how much you could go into it, but now you can spec fully into free traits, so that kind of gave everyone a power boost there. They changed gear so that now you get stats from gear instead of your trait system. So gear is now roll these out, once every 2 weeks or so, slowly.
Yeah, no, not all at once. I gotcha. Sounds like they did way too much at once, and it's not a good thing. But it was just this is a lot of stuff to go talk about. But I see your point. It's not a good thing what they did there, which is a shame. But they'll recover. They'll fix it all eventually. All right, let's go through upcoming games. So stuff that's coming up soon. This is a quick list. Why don't you run through this one, AI?
All right. So we got J-Star's Victory Versus Plus fighting game. It's releasing June 30th. Actually, I heard this released in some places already. It's for PS3 and PS4. It has not been getting that good reviews. It's basically fan service. I think it's like the shonen type animes, and you could play characters from them, like Naruto and Kenshiro and those guys.
Yeah. All that Japanese anime crap.
Other Japanese anime crap. Blaze Blue Chrono Phantasma Extend is also another fighting game. This is 2D one, not 3D. Like the other one is coming out June 30th. This is basically like the complete package of Chrono Phantasma. I think they're adding 2 or 3 new characters. And it's coming out for PS3, PS4, PS Vita, and Xbox One on June 30th. Moving on, Onachan Bara Z2 Chaos is coming out. It's a pervy hack and slash.
Oh, goody.
There's you're basically the title of the game before this was Bikini Samurai Squad, which I think more accurately describes the game. But you basically cut through zombies,
Next.
and you're wearing bikinis and schoolgirl outfits.
This game next. Jesus fuck.
June 30th, PS4. Well, I mean, the next game isn't much better.
No, it's probably
Hyper
not.
Dimension, Neptunia Rebirth V Generation. Again, long Japanese titles. Coming out to JRPG, June 30th. It has some pervy elements to it, too. And it's coming out for PS Vita. Also coming out for PS Vita, also pervy JRPG, is Arno Surge Plus Ode to an Unborn Star, and that's coming out July 2nd for PS Vita.
All right, from now on, there's going to be a new rule implemented. You're going to get to announce 2 Vita games coming up, and not every fucking one of them. Continue.
But these are good games that we're buying.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Rocket League is coming out. It's a card driving MOBA game. Not MO, MOBA. It's coming out June 7th for PS4 and PC. This one looks kind of interesting, but I mean,
Card driving
I don't
MOBA
know.
does not sound interesting in the least bit at all.
It's different.
Yes, different does not mean good.
And yet another Japanese fighting game coming out. This one's for PC only. Yatagarasu Attack of Cataclysm. It's Attack of Cataclysm. I don't know what that means.
Wonderful fucking titles for these games. Wonder why no one cares about them.
And it's a fighting game. It's from the guys who make King of Fighters. It's coming out June 7th for PC.
Thank God. Thank God it's got some experience behind it. Alright, guys.
If it wasn't for Japanese games, there'd be one game on that list.
Maybe there should have been. That's what I'm saying.
And it would have been a card.
That's what I'm
driving
saying. Maybe there should have been. Anyway, so let's wrap this up, guys. Really quick. What games have you been passionately playing over the past couple of weeks since E3, guys? Naughties, why don't you start?
I finished The Witcher.
Lucy finished The Witcher. Okay, good.
I had sex with all the hookers and the
Wow.
horse.
And okay,
It
wonderful.
was great. Actually, I'm hoping to replay it once all the DLCs come out. I think we're like week 5 or something. So, like halfway through, and yeah, I'm planning to replay it on the highest difficulty, and then right now I've just been grinding in 14, and I'm pretty frustrated with it.
While leveling up is frustrating.
Yeah.
Very boring.
I hope it gets better.
It won't. It won't. I hit 60 today. It doesn't get any better. Naughties, what have you been playing?
I've been dabbling a bit back into Guild Wars 2, little Space Engineers, and some tabletop sim. Who's next?
AI is next.
All right, well, I finally finished platinuming my Witcher 3, which required one full playthrough
Wow.
and another playthrough about halfway through the game. Yeah, I got all the Gwent cards. I did all the contracts. I did a lot of grinding since Death March XP is terrible.
Good God.
I also started playing Gwent. I give you advice. Start playing it right away, because you can miss some cards.
Yeah,
There's
I made that
massive
mistake.
amounts of missables in the game. I didn't actually miss the Gwent cards. I missed the full crew trophy because I killed somebody related to the story. I won't go into detail about that because of spoilers, but fuck missable achievements. I made
Yeah.
the wrong dialogue choice apparently, even though it seemed like the right dialogue choice, considering the person I killed.
Well, that'll get you. Definitely will get you.
Don't put fucking missable achievements in RPG.
The shortcomings of make your own adventure, right? The shortcomings of the achievement system. Haha, how about that?
Yeah, well, shortcomings of developers.
Fuck achievements.
The achievement system. I've also been playing Guild Wars 2 and Tabletop Simulator, and I also started Operation Abyss New Tokyo Legacy, which is a dungeon crawler type game from Experience. But I have not gone that far in that game.
Alrighty. Papa, what about you?
Tabletop Sim, Guild Wars 2, and Smash Brothers.
Cipher?
Final Fantasy 14.
I didn't even need to ask him because I know where he's been for the past week and a half, week or so.
Yeah, I took some vacation and been playing like 12 hours a day. This is probably going to be my last hurrah in the MMO launch shit, but having fun. Having a lot of fun doing the new stuff. Even though I'm just leveling now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, doing the endgame stuff for now, the EX fights. Very enjoyable.
Good. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. It's good to see you in a good mood for a change. So let's see. I'm last but not least. Maybe just last.
Just don't talk about Dark Souls.
Just don't talk about
I'll be
Dark
in a
Souls.
good mood.
I got married last Saturday. So my time gaming has been a little slowed down. And I took the week off, but so I did get some in. I played Final Fantasy 14 Heavensward. Played some tabletop. Yesterday with you guys, we played Pandemic, a couple of games. That was fun. We actually won, I was amazed. Of course, we had like the most broken fucking combo, so that helped. That game was only like 38 minutes, just so you know. It was really, really quick. Let's see. I was playing The Witcher, but I haven't gotten back around to that. I guess, once I catch up on Endgame this week, maybe I will delve back into that for a day or two before raids start. And that's about it. So, yeah. My last question for you guys was there any games that caught your eye in the Steam sale this round?
I
There
haven't
wasn't.
bought anything. No.
Wow. I've heard this a
There's
lot.
just all the games that people wanted that just wouldn't cut. I don't know if that's partly to blame because, The Witcher 3 is got their own distributor.
Yeah, it might be.
And Witcher 3 just came out. None of the games that just come out get too great of a cut.
So the Steam prices during a sale are set by the publishers and developers individually, and it seems like a lot of them this time thought they'd try to be all secret squirrel and coy and return the games to their original just released retail price and then discount them. So that's why a lot of the prices were pretty bad.
Yeah.
There was a couple games that caught my eye, but I'm not buying any new games for a while. So
The only one I picked up was Massive Chalice. It actually did come out the week before E3, and it was 33% off for a while, but it hit 50%, and I bought it for $10. So hopefully I'll get around to playing that sometime in fucking fall, for all I know.
even with all our warnings about that game.
Listen, it interests me. I watched some gameplay of it, and I want to try it. That's all. It was $10. What do I got to lose? I had like $75 in my fucking Steam wallet. Plenty of money. Okay, so that about wraps up the podcast. In fact, that does wrap up the podcast. This was part 2 of a very long podcast. We were going to see you guys in 2 weeks on Sunday, July 12th. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter at impact_gamingcm, on YouTube at Impact Gaming Videos, which we now post the podcast and our tabletop simulator stuff on. And of course, you can listen to this glorious podcast on iTunes by searching for IGC Podcast or Impact Gaming Podcast or something of that nature. Subscribe to us, leave us a review. We love you. Do that. We stream. We have a streaming team. Please come and check us out on our website at the streams link at the top of the page. And our website is, of course, www.impact-gaming.us. And you can send us questions at podcast@impact-gaming.us if you're watching us on Twitch. Listening to us on YouTube or iTunes, thank you guys. That's why we do this. We will see you in 2 weeks where we will talk about more bullshit mundane gaming news, and hopefully we'll have more time and be in a better mood, and we can talk more about Star Citizen. I promise we will do that. I don't want to upset anyone. I'm sorry, Naughtius. We will talk more about Star Citizen. It's very important to me that Star Citizen is, what's that word? Successful.
I can't believe that we live in an age where people will spend $3,000 on a ship for a game that hasn't came out.
Stop saying Star Citizen.
That's what. Listen, man, we live in a world where there's Kickstarter and stuff people buy promises now, and
Yeah.
it's
Shenmue
a thing.
3. I backed it.
There you go, Shenmue 3. Yes, the game apparently everyone wanted, but no one was saying they wanted until last week. So yeah, we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you guys for stopping by.